Well, good heavens, it's all happening here today. Well, it is out the front. A while ago, we got letters from the council saying that they're going to be working on the road, which was, to be fair, in a pretty awful state, repairing potholes. Last night, a huge juggernaut appeared, parked opposite me, and then this morning, from its back, there crawled the creature from another world, whose purpose appears to be to eat roads and spit them out of its arse up a conveyor belt into a tipper truck. And having got rid of all the older rubbishy surface, they're now working on dumping the new on there. There's a road roller out there, numerous JCB diggers, all sorts of blokes with brushes sweeping things up, and this big truck contraption sort of thing with a huge tub of boiling tar on it. And I said, do you reckon we could fit a few local or national politicians in there with a few feathers? And that certainly made the driver laugh. Because that way they really could support their own national or local transport infrastructure being buried in the road. They might actually do something for once. It's mesmerising to watch, actually, them out there doing their thing, but don't like to stay out there too long because they might get the wrong idea and think that I'm one of these idle, good-for-nothing chaps from the Orbit Housing Association just down the road. God, what a dump that is. They do their best to keep the rubbish inside it. They do go round there most days and sweep it all up, the owners, but inside it looks like an absolute dump. And you can see evidence of it even from outside. There's sheets at the windows instead of curtains and other such like disgusting things. Not wishing to sound too much like Hyacinth Bucket, but, well, you don't know, it's Bouquet. But you do get what I mean. God, dear, oh dear. Now, the other night, my neighbours rang me up to come down here and have a look at this. And I thought, ooh, vicar. But they got a programme on their telly called Benefits Britain 1949. And what it is, it's about the welfare state and how it was put into effect back in 1949 when it first started round about then, either 48 or 49. Very interesting indeed. They've even got an old office and they've rigged it all out with the old typewriters and Bakelite telephones and secretaries with their hair in a snood and all this sort of thing. And they've got an older gent and an older lady who obviously did the job at one point, and they're enforcing the benefits system exactly as it would have been done back then. And I tell you what, it makes interesting viewing. If you're in the UK, you can get our telly, then you may well have had a look at it and had a laugh yourself. Or maybe even thrown something at the screen, I don't know. But it does make you want to, some parts of it. But in those days, there was certainly no room for any piss-takers or scroungers or people who thought the world owed them a living. And not much more room for any of these economic migrants either. They'd help them find a job, yes, but that was about it. You didn't get anything else. You want help like that? Go back to your own country. If only they still ran it like that now, eh? Now, I remember when I was a kid growing up, going round to friends' houses after school, and some of them lived in council houses. Well, there was nothing wrong with that at all. It was just like being anywhere else. The residents used to keep the estate nicely. And I can always remember one kid I used to go and see, his dad had a brand new Morris 1800 Marina Coupe, complete with BMC B series engine, and he'd be polishing it and polishing it and polishing it. Yeah, very nice too, if you like that sort of thing. But nowadays would be considered a classic car. And the place was immaculate. The whole estate was like it, and they had a real pride in keeping the place nice, just the same as you do with your own place. And, why not? That's what you did then, and what most people still do now. But what I never realised was that in 1949, if you didn't keep a council property up, they could sling you out. And they could still do it until fairly recently, and I think they can still do it in some areas. But this couple went round to see a couple up north somewhere here who lived in absolute squalor. The place was filthy inside and out. And they told them in no uncertain terms, you buck your ideas up and get this lot cleaned up, or you're both out on your ear. And if you've got nowhere to go, we'll put your kids into care. Stick that in your Burberry cap and smoke it with your pot and your hashish. Yeah, sobering stuff indeed. And I tell you what, I've never seen anybody clean a place up so quick. Amazing. Wonders will never cease. But it's a sad thing about the Orbit place down the road from me, because when I moved here, well, better part of 30 years ago now, it was very much a bit of a rundown area, but we all worked. We were all blue-collar workers, mind you, railway motormen, bus drivers, bin men, that sort of thing. But we did all work, and that block was owned by the council, who sold it to a housing association, and almost immediately the problems began. We began to get garbage from all over the place moving into there, and all the nice people that were in there just moved out. Nice, I don't think. Call me cynical if you like. Dear, oh dear. There's a bloody thing for you. The latest stupid thing by Mr. Cameron, our Prime Minister. Yes, okay. I know what you're thinking, and you're probably thinking rude words the same as I am, but I don't like to say it on air. He keeps on about the welfare bill and so on. Well, there's several ways he could save money, stop interfering in other people's silly foreign wars, and stop sending all this money to Bongo land, as the rather unpolitically correct UKIP man said, but, well, you get the meaning and the picture. And as for the welfare bill, well, it comes to light that Mr. Cameron was actually claiming disability living allowance for his defective son while he was still alive. Claiming benefits on that sort of a salary? Whatever it was he was doing then? Pardon? Oh, well, there was no wrongdoing. Yeah, well, that may be so legally, but it doesn't make it any less morally repugnant. Still, at least it looks as if somebody has, for the moment, thrown a spanner in the works of us getting involved in bloody Syria. When will they learn? These bastards have been stabbing each other and throwing stones at each other, and in more recent times shooting each other for years. For millennia. It's part of their so-called culture, isn't it? So don't get involved, just leave them to it. The fact they're throwing stones at each other in this day and age shows you how backward they are in such dumps. So just leave them to it, along with Egypt. If it all goes down the toilet there, the only effect it's going to have here is that there won't be any dates this Christmas, and since they look like squashed, sugared cockroaches, I'm sure we'll all be better off. God, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Because fiddling around with the Middle East, it doesn't do any good, does it? It doesn't alter anything. It just costs a bomb in lost service people's lives, and in taxpayers' money, of course. And it doesn't change anything, so just leave them be, and you won't get any thanks for it. All you might get is another 7/7 or another 9/11. So keep well away from these treacherous buggers, and you won't go far amiss, eh? But you try telling these dewy-eyed, politically correct idiots that. They try to make out it's all about the civilians. Yes. Well, we know what's happened in places like Afghanistan. They hide Al-Qaeda and all this sort of thing, don't they? And hide behind kids and all this sort of thing. So, no, just keep away. It's like a sewage works. You're quite happy to note it's there and doing its thing, but you wouldn't want to go too near, would you?